What is going on, guys? Welcome back to another video. In this video I'm going to be going through 18 tools that I currently use to rank a website. So that's particularly for SEO. I'm not going to go through all the other things like monetizing it and so on and so forth. I'm going to try to keep it as focused as I can around SEO. All right, so I'm just going to go through a bunch of different tools, and if you are new to this channel and you're excited about the video, then make sure to leave a like on it. Maybe you want to consider subscribing throughout the video if you do enjoy the video throughout. All right, so what we're going to do is get started right now. So the first tool on the list, or service I should say, is going to be Google Docs, and what I actually use this for is to write my content all together. The reason why I particularly use it is because it's very easy to create and write with, okay? And also you can change formatting. You can also use outbound links within the content as well that you can then copy over to your website. And one of the other bonuses is that it automatically saves, and it saves previous versions of your work. So sometimes if you do end up losing some level of content or work, you can actually obviously, go back to that, edit that, or bring up like an old version that it's automatically saved. One of the other benefits to using Google Docs as well is that it's shareable files. So I actually use a content brief when I'm hiring writers for my niche websites. And when I do that, I can actually go in and make any edits, and it updates live on their end as well. But you can share that page with anyone, multiple people, millions of people, however many you want, and they can all access that resource. And what's so good about it is it allows me to actually use a template and then just edit that template particularly for that job that the writer's working on. And then if I need to make any changes accordingly or leave some notes, I can actually do that within that Google Doc, and then they can see it on the other end as well. And obviously, of course, I can share external links on it. So if I want to give them an example piece of content I'm referencing to, it's very easy to do so with that as well. So it's just very, very good. Now, the second tool on the list is going to be keysearch.co. Now, many of you have heard me go over this in many different videos. And if you search key search review, I'm the #1 ranking video on YouTube. What this tool particularly does is it just does everything SEO, and it does it all for a very small price. All right, so you can actually get the tool for like $17 per month, and through using my link and discount, you get it for $13 a month. And what it does is basically it tracks all of your keywords. It does keyword research. It does competitor research. So it shows you like the level of backlinks, the anchor text that they're using. It shows you page speed, loading times, all of the on-page SEO metrics. It also does competitor gap analysis. So if you want to see all the keywords that your competition are showing up for that you maybe are not ranking for, then you can also separate that and identify that information. And then you've also got like a new section, which is like the content editor and also guest post finder. So what that does is the content editor allows you to see if you're incorporating the right words that Google want to see for that particular topic that you're writing about. And it does that by analyzing the top 10 ranking websites that are showing up and the words that they're all similarly using. And then you've also got the guest post finder, where you put in a particular topic and it will actually scrape Google to find all the websites that have listed like write for us or come and write for us or guest post opportunity, which is not always the best kind of way of doing it. But if you are relatively new to SEO, then that could be a very viable option for you to get your feet wet and start getting some guest posts out there as well. Now, the third tool on the list is one that I've most recently started using more consistently, and I have used it previously in the past, but not when I was starting out, and that's Ahrefs. And what that is an all-in-one SEO tool. So again, it does everything that key search does, whether it be rank tracking for your keywords or competitor analysis, but it's a lot more accurate and a lot more in-depth. It's a premium tool. It's not as cheap as key search. It's around $99 for the basic standard light package, and then from there it goes up to like $197, $497, and price is just astronomical. So if you're not like a big or experienced SEO, then I wouldn't recommend Ahrefs, but it's something that I currently use that I wanted to share across on this video. Now, number 4 is a tool called Surfer SEO, which again is recently something that I've been using more heavily. And what this is an on-page SEO analysis tool. So what this does is basically you can take your existing articles and you can actually punch it into Surfer SEO, and it will give you the exact keyword density and placement of where you should be using the keyword. So one of the most difficult things when you're actually trying to rank a new website is finding out how many times you should use a given keyword, because this can vary depending on the length of your content, how many other articles there are on the internet related to the topic, how many synonyms the topic has, how long the keyword is, so how many words it has within the phrase. There's so many different things that can play a part in the different levels of density of what you should use on a given keyword. And one thing that we have in SEO is something called over optimization. And when you over optimize, you either might not rank where you should or could, or potentially might not show up at all. So when this happens, you need to be using a tool like Surfer SEO. And what that does is it analyzes the top ranking websites, and you can pick websites that are very similar to yours, so you get the most accurate information in your comparison. And then that way it will basically scan those websites and figure out an average of how many times they're using the exact keyword and where they're using it. And then it also does it based on partial keywords. Partial keyword counts as any word that has 3 letters of your main keyword included incorporated in the phrase. So that will make up a partial keyword. And then it also analyzes and scrapes the backlink data. So it does like a backlink competitor analysis as well. So you can see the gap between you and the other sites that are similar to yours that are showing up in the top 10. And then we've also got the page speed. So it compares the page speed to see, you know, how fast your page is loading in comparison to your competitors. And one of the most significant changes I actually noticed in rankings for this, in page speed, loading times, was just me changing my hosting. So I was using SiteGround before, which is like a basic one to get started with. But then once you get a bit more experienced, I'm currently using WPX, which is astronomically fast. Like, so all of my pages are loading like under 2 seconds at the moment, which is brilliant. And then I'm also using a few other things that I'll mention on this list in conjunction with WPX hosting. But just the hosting alone, I would say made up like 80% difference of my page speed loading time across my website than any other thing that I've used, you know. So that was the strongest kind of effect on the speed of the site. All right, and then with Surfer SEO, it also has something called content editor. So that allows you to create new pieces of content. So if you are just creating something new, you go through the same process of picking very similar sites to the level of authority that you have. You can do this based on traffic or based on backlinks or based on content, like whatever it is or whatever metric you prefer to use, then you can do so and analyze the top 10 or top 15 or whatever top ranking sites that you want to compare yourself to and create your content similar to. Yeah, it's just essentially correlation marketing. It then allows you to select primary, secondary keywords and any other related terms that you should incorporate into your article, and that will be based on similar words that are used in your competitor websites that you've selected from the list as well. And then once you've done that, you can actually create the article inside of Surfer SEO's content platform, or you can actually export this to a Google Doc of where you can hire a writer and give them some notes and give them some FAQs, so on and so forth, to actually include in subtopics, so on and so forth, to create your content. All right, so it's a very good tool. It's a bit technical for if you're a beginner. Do I think you absolutely need this tool? I don't think so. You can actually rank without it. It's naturally writing content and just using basic principles of SEO knowledge, but it's not very good to do so if you're going for highly competitive keywords. So if you're in a niche where you're just building like an info type website or an income school kind of website where it's just like 50% content information and 50% like revenue focused or whatever, then you probably don't need Surfer SEO. But if you're going like 80% revenue focused and you're going for like a review type website where a lot of your keywords are reviews and Best Buy articles and things like that, then you're probably going to want to do all the technical kind of things to give you the best chance at ranking. So in that scenario, I would highly recommend Surfer SEO. The next tool that I actually use is a tool to check my page speed, and that's called pingdom.com. And what Pingdom is essentially a tool that allows you to check your page speed, so your loading time, and it gives you a metric of how big your page is, so how heavy it is, whether, you know, a megabyte or 2 megabytes, whatever it may be, or even kilobytes if it's very small, which is good. And it also gives you a time to load as well. So what that is basically it gives you the loading time that it gives a visitor. What the difference is if you use like Google Page Speed Insights, which is absolutely brilliant, and that's where it's loading up everything on the page. The only difference is that it's not what people are actually going to see. So with Pingdom, it actually loads how it's going to load for a reader of your website, whereas Google Page Speed Insights is how Google is going to load it. So Google's actually going to go through the whole entire page. So you're always going to get probably slower loading page speed times on Google Page Speed Insights to what you would get on pingdom.com. But at the same time, I still use them interchangeably because you still want to kind of know how long it's taking your whole entire page to load, opposed to just how fast it loads on the forefront to a reader. Next tool that I use or service is Google Analytics. And the reason why I use Google Analytics is because it's the only way to actually gauge the performance of your content. So you can be tracking your keywords and monitoring your pages. The ultimate reward that Google can give you is traffic. So the only way to actually track your traffic is to head over to Google Analytics, and that actually gives you a breakdown of all of the behavior that's happening on your site. So it gives you the different types of traffic that's coming to your site, whether it be from social media, direct people typing in your website or company name, or if it's coming directly from Google. And then you can actually analyze and see what devices people are using, all of the different times of day, the countries that they're in, the exact locations, just about everything you would want to know about your reader and the people who are visiting your site. And that whole kind of process from them typing in a given keyword and landing on your page, you can get. So even your page speed loading time, your bounce rate, like absolutely everything is given to you on Google Analytics, and it is the golden hub, like for any website owner. There are other companies that try and emulate or give, like, you know, better analytics and whatever else, and that's all within reason because Google is just the main hub, and it just gives you everything that you need. Of course, you can even do comparisons on articles, you know, where you're comparing articles from pre-existing times to now to see performance levels and identify key areas that you could improve on. There's just absolutely everything inside of it, and I would highly recommend that you use it if you are building a website. Now, there are also plugins like Monster Insights for Google Analytics and so on. I would not focus on that, first of all, because that's going to slow down your site. Secondly, because you really need to get to grips with using the actual Google Analytics main website. So if you're just using like a substitute and seeing some kind of segment of information on your actual WordPress site, that's just being lazy. You really need to get to grips with the actual analytics platform of where you're going to reap the most rewards. So I would highly recommend that you scrap that tool because it's probably causing your site to load a little bit slower than it could, and then actually go into Google Analytics and use that to your benefit. So number 8 on the list is going to be iWriter, and the reason why I'm putting iWriter opposed to any other content services that I use is purely because that's where I focus a majority of my efforts, and I've got a few methods and techniques of how I actually find good writers on that platform. A lot of people don't like iWriter, but I think the only downside is because it's like a content mill kind of platform where there's just a ton of different writers waiting to write for particular topics. What you have to do is actually filter through that and find the good writers, and I've got techniques of finding that, which I'll share in a different video. But then you want to save those writers. So I've actually got different niches and different writers that I use, and I keep them in my favorites, or I've got them in a list on a Google Notes anyway, on a notes on my Mac, sorry, and I can go back and use those guys again, and they are very, very good writers. I've compared them to other people on different platforms, and they're very good, you know, and I do try and get the best of the best on iWriter. It's a very good platform, and I would highly recommend it if you're looking for reasonably priced content and you're relatively new to SEO. I think it's a great place. The only thing that I would recommend to you to do is to actually create a content brief in a Google Doc. So that's what I actually personally use. I create a Google Doc content brief template, and that gives them all the information, and I even include all the subtopics that I want them to cover. So I research the subtopics and put that together and construct it, so they just essentially fill in the blanks, and it gets me good results. You know, I've got tons of position 1 rankings with content that I've purchased off iWriter for relatively competitive terms. So I think it's pretty good. I've got a good gauge on what good content is as well, based on my experience, and I think that it's very good, especially if you want a quick turnaround time on content within like 24 hours to 48 hours. You're probably going to find that on something like iWriter. All right, so number 9 on the list is going to be Fiverr. Now, a lot of people don't really understand how to use Fiverr. They think that they're going to get like their entire business or some great kind of premium products and service from Fiverr. It's not used for that. Anyone who's kind of experienced on the internet knows that you only use Fiverr for small things like logos or quick videos, animations, or something like that. You know, something where it requires a high level of creativity in a short amount of time. So something like a logo creation is absolutely perfect for Fiverr. Or if you want like a quick PDF, like a giveaway, that say for example, I've got this YouTube channel and I wanted to create a free giveaway book. Well, I could easily go and get like an article online, something that's, you know, very kind of informational and helpful, and then get it rewritten on Fiverr and get them to put it into like a PDF with my branding and logo on it and all that kind of thing. I could get that done for about $50, you know, $30, and it'll be to a high level of quality. And that's something that I would go and get on Fiverr, something quick, you know, requires a high level of creativity in a short amount of time. Or if I'm creating a new website and I need a logo created, I'm probably going to go to Fiverr 9 times out of 10 because the logo creations on there are absolutely brilliant. And I've actually got a specific guy that I just use over and over again for my websites because he just has a great style that I actually highly recommend you actually use on websites as well. And you can see that guy if you go to my Fiverr videos on this channel somewhere. All right, number 10 is going to be a social sharing service called RedSocial.net. And the reason why I actually use that is for social shares, so social signals. What that is basically not when you're sharing your own article on your website, it's when another social profile is actually sharing your article, and it sends a signal back to Google that it's being shared. All right, so all it is just social media sharing from third parties. And it's a very good ranking signal because if you're getting a bit of traffic and then you're getting some social signals, it warrants you to start getting some backlinks. So if you're actually building the links yourself to your site and your content, then it's a great way to actually, you know, add some social signals to the article first, your main topics, and then get some backlinks coming in after that. So it looks like a natural progression of the content's progression. All right, so if we take a look at that, the first thing you might get is traffic after you rank the website. So you might be getting like 50 views a month, whatever. And then after that, you start to add some social signals. And then after you get the social signals, you start to drive some links. And what that does is it cushions the links, the backlinks, you know, because you don't want to start sending links before it's even been seen or shared by anyone on the internet. All right, so it justifies the rest of those processes. All right, so number 11 is going to be Yoast SEO, and this is a great tool. The reason why I use Yoast SEO is purely to mainly de-index all of my pages that I don't want ranked. So say for example, I've got any date archives or categories and things like that that I don't want to show up in the Google page results. I might not want to show up in the Google page results. Well, that allows me to quickly de-index those pages. One of the other benefits to using Yoast SEO is it allows you to create all of the meta description for each of your pages and your organization. So when you're creating a new website, the way that your website is shown in the Google page results, it allows you to change and optimize. And then on a per page basis, you can also optimize your pages. I wouldn't recommend that you actually follow all of their kind of technical specifications, because usually it's just giving you like some outdated kind of level of gauge based on some number or density. I don't have a clue. I don't even follow it. Just follow the basic strategies of SEO and good practice 101 stuff like outbound links and, you know, using bolded text here and there or a bit of images, optimizing your meta description, keeping it within 65 characters for the title, front loading your keywords. All of that kind of thing is genuinely going to get you about 80% of the way there. So you don't have to worry about Yoast's recommendations. Just don't bother with it. Yeah, the only time I do use it is for if you are seeing that you're starting sentences with repetitive words. It's very good for that, because those are the things that you can easily overlook, especially if you get the content back from a writer. And there are ways of actually going through a step-by-step sequence of hiring writers, and I'm going to do a video on that in the future as well. The next tool that I'm going to say I use is Grammarly, and the reason why I put Grammarly in regards to my SEO is because after I get content back from writers, I then plug it into Grammarly, and that's just to basically make sure that it's grammatically correct. And if you're writing in a different country's language, say for example, I'm from the UK, but my sites are focused in the US. There's a lot of words that I might not use or spell differently that I can actually set Grammarly to the US states, and then it will optimize it based on that. So it bring up all those errors so I can quickly correct it, go through the content, and then obviously copy that content from there into my actual website. So it's a process of hiring the writer and then getting it, then checking it, and then uploading it. All right, and that's obviously between the process I might be doing like a bit of SEO and optimizing with Surfer and so on and so forth after I've got it from the writer. So I'll go more into that in a different video, as I mentioned, but definitely Grammarly is a good tool to use even if you're writing emails or anything else like on the internet. It's always just a Google extension tool that shows up on the sidebar, and it just hovers over there and highlights any errors or incorrect spellings at any time. Even when I'm replying to comments on YouTube, it's very good for that as well. Number 13 is definitely going to be the Moz Toolbar. So what I use that for is when I'm analyzing competition of the top 10 ranking pages for a given keyword, just quickly allows me to see the domain authority and page authority of those sites. Now, by no means do you have to use that. It's a Google extension tool again, but what it does is it allows you to do it on the forefront. Whereas if I'm using like my key search tool, it only brings it up in the back end in key search, so I can't actually see it on Google. I'm not sure if key search's toolbar tool actually does that, so I'm not sure because I don't use it. But key search does have a toolbar tool as well that it does. It might have that kind of information on there as well. But what the Moz Toolbar does is it brings up the domain authority and the page authority. So what I'm always looking for is I'm gauging to see, okay, can I see some low authority sites here, which is like below 30 or below 20. Below 20 is like super easy to outrank, and then below 30 you might need some backlinks or whatever else. But if I see a few of those showing up in the top 10 results, then it's probably a good idea to go for that keyword. And also I'm analyzing to see if they're on topic, you know, because sometimes you might get highly authoritative sites showing up that are not particularly on that topic, and they're just ranking for it because they have incorporated some secondary keywords within their article that's related to the topic, you know. So you want to analyze all that information, but this is a keyword research video. It's purely to give you the tools that I use and to explain a little bit about how I actually use them to my benefit as well. So I highly recommend using the Moz Toolbar. It's a free Google extension tool if you are a technical kind of SEO. The next tool that I'm going to recommend is a Google extension tool called SimilarWeb. And the reason why I recommend SimilarWeb is purely because it allows you to see the overall traffic of a competing website. Now, Surfer SEO does also have a tool that I'll go over in a second, similar to that, which is an extension tool separate to their actual platform. But yeah, definitely SimilarWeb. It allows you to see a website's traffic and where it's coming from, and that's a competitor site. And what this can do is just genuinely give you a gauge of your competition or a website within your niche or an authority site or whatever. I use it just on a day-to-day of just genuinely looking at a website, because ultimately the best reward that Google can give to a site is traffic. So if you see a lot of traffic, then you know there's a lot of authority around that site. So I just use it for those day-to-day things. And if you're running paid ads and things like that, it also allows you to reverse engineer competitor services and products and pages to see what pages are sharing that page that's showing up, and all these kind of different things that might not be so relevant to this video. But definitely if you want to see another website's traffic immediately on the forefront, then you might want to check out SimilarWeb. So the next tool on the list is going to be called ShortPixel Image Optimizer, and that's number 15. But then I also want to go over number 16, which works in conjunction with it, which is Resize Image After Upload. So what this does is these are two plugins, and they essentially, one of them just optimize the image that you upload, and then one of them resize it. So what you might find if you don't understand about images on the internet is sometimes you have this big massive image that you might have copied from somewhere else, and then you go and paste it on your website and it looks all nice and neat and whatever else, and you think, hey, no problem, it looks good, you know, because it's all nice and neat within your content. Well, what's happening is when Google loads it up and when your page loads up, it's still loading that big image, but it's just appearing to look smaller within your theme. Yeah, but what this actually does is resize it, so it optimizes it to the specifications or maximum that you've set within the tool, and then also it optimizes it and brings down the level of quality while still giving it or allowing it to appear very nice on the forefront, but reducing the overall size of the image or the weight, if you want to kind of decipher the metrics in that way. So what that is basically you might have an image that's 1 megabyte, it'll bring it down to 500 KB, and that's it. What that will do is it allow it to load up faster, because 1 megabyte is obviously double the size of 500 kilobyte. So if it's lighter, it's going to load up faster. There's less to load. Yeah, okay, less effort for it to load up, okay, because it's lighter, there's less there. Number 17 is also going to revolve around page speed, and this is WP Fastest Cache. The reason why I like this plugin is purely because it's It's very easy to use. From just a few clicks of a button, you can actually use it with Cloudflare and integrate it with CDN services. And what that does is it allows you to load up your page from different server locations. So if you're in the US in a particular state, they might have a server in that location, and it will cache the pages and the website and load it from that location. So if someone types it in from that location, it will load up in maybe like half a second. If someone types it in the UK, it might load up a bit longer because the servers are not in that country, so on and so forth. So it just gives you more of an opportunity of loading a lot faster from different locations. And then you've also got all of these different things where it minimizes like any of the JavaScript, and there's a lot of minified JavaScript and all these different things that it actually reduces for you. So it's a very handy tool, and highly recommended because it's completely free and it has a massive effect on your page loading speed. All right, so the last one on the list, which is going to be number 18, is answerthepublic.com. And the purely reason why I recommend this tool is purely because when you're starting out, you might not know where to go and find different keywords and ideas to go and rank for. So what this tool does is it brings up a list of all the different keywords that are being punched in around a particular topic on the internet. And why it's beneficial is because you can go drum in like a very broad term. So you can just put like bikes, and then it will bring up everything like questions around bikes, prepositions around bikes, comparison keywords around bikes. Then you can use that and actually go and plant that into like a keyword tool like keysearch.co and use it as a seed keyword, and then it brings up all these other related terms that you probably wouldn't have thought of. So it's very handy for that. And I just use it here and there, not every single day, but I did used to use it a lot more when I started out. But it's very good for finding informational content and just general ideas that you may not have thought of. So yeah, that's about it. So that's 18 different tools that I actually currently use to rank a website. Now, by no means do I use every single one on every single post or every single day, but intermittently, these are probably the most 18 focused tools that I use. And some of them are set it and forget it, especially like the plugins and the extensions and whatever else. But they're just very handy of analyzing competition and helping you to really just rank a website and gauge where you're at. All right, so if you did like this video, then make sure to leave a like. If you are interested in knowing more about SEO and affiliate marketing, then I would highly recommend you check out my PDF ebook that I've put together for just $37. There's a link to that book in the description box. It's called Niche Site Amazon Secrets. And if you want to check it out, or I've got a free cheat sheet where you can check that out before actually going and checking out the book. And if you like the video, then make sure to give me a thumbs up and subscribe if you haven't already. I'll see you in the next one. Peace.